Like the negatives of heroin, there certainly are a few bad things about Starfield, though being a Latvian I'm perfectly suited to find those dark spots. Life is pain! Of otherwise perfect game, if we can trust gaming journalists. So then, the 10 worst things about Starfield. Now, just like smacking an LSD ODing moose, everyone can enjoy the spectacle. Though as the juices are flowing everywhere, remember that this is a companion piece to the best list. So, where there are good, there is the bad. So let's put on our diving caps, gas masks, and hazmat suits and dive into this mess that Bethesda exploded out of one of its orifices. Oh, and of course, do share your lists down below in the comments. Now, alley whoop! Now we start off our list with number 10 being the UI. Yes, spoilers, you'll see UI again in the best list, but here I'm gonna be complaining, bitching and whining about the trash UI parts. Or at least that's how fanboys would phrase it. Well, first off, the local map. Like the great orange man of America would say, it's trash, like garbage. Both Elder Scrolls and Fallout have showcased more usable local map than whatever the fuck Starfield calls this. It's such an embarrassment. How could you not have, at the very least, for the big cities, these local maps? And in stark contrast, I absolutely love the look of the system maps that it makes me question if Bethesda didn't start drinking bleach in middle of UI development.
Bleach is healthy. It's mostly water. And we're mostly water. Therefore, we are bleach.
Regardless, the menu goes one step back to wider system map, then another press will lead to galaxy map, and then finally the last press will exit you from the menu. See, I'm not privy to the dick and dildo swill-filled design terminology, but opening and closing menus should take the same goddamn amount of presses! At first, it annoyed me. Now, it pisses me off. Oh, but you may think, oh, Yamiks, that's just one case. No! There are multiple cases of this bullshit! Now then we continue for number 9 with the UI again, but more specifically about the inventory. Possibly the most important part of the game's menu when it comes to something that has a lot of loot and crafting and loads of gear. Normally you'd think that structuring the inventory in categories would be important to make the player at least able to find his gear and stuff to sell. Bonus points if the inventory gives you the feeling of stuffing your pockets with actual items, not just drop-down lists from Excel spreadsheets. Well, crap. No bonus points for you then. Well, for most part, Starfield does this. You got a weapon tab, you got an armor and jetpack tab, and then you got food, aid, drugs, alien jizz, ship repair kits tab. Wait, hold on, what was the last one? No, I'm serious. You store the ship repair kits at the same tab as your anal medicines. And that shit's heavy! Then we have the resource tab, and okay, well, it's a big sack of shit for crafting. Though we could use some sort of a sorting capability, that's fine. But then we have the miscellaneous tab. I ask, Bethesda, have you played your own game? There's so much shit laying around that sorting here is definitely important. Now sure, this is not like Fallout 4 where literally every item has a scrap value, but since being encumbered is not a problem, you do collect everything. Now even if you sweep under the rug the fact that these junk items are completely useless, I cannot tell you how many times I accidentally sold my dick pics. Digipics. Why are they in miscellaneous? You go and sell all the garbage that is there because hey, they don't have any value in crafting anyways, and suddenly whoops, you sold all your dick pics on random internet marketplace. For number 8, we got some faces. Now let me explain. Now in the last 20 years, during my lifetime, I've seen video game characters go from this, to this, then to this, and then this.
Sorry, my face is tired from dealing with everything.
Even when you have appropriate lighting for character faces, there is one thing that I could not get out of my mind, and that is, wow, these faces have certainly a lot of polygons in them. Such a shame that there is no emotion in any of them. At this point, voice acting is doing such heavy lifting for Starfield in terms of the story and character portrayal, I think the voice actors' backs are breaking. Bethesda, you better be paying these people double. So without going too deep into this one, it's just sad to see a game from 2004 being more emotional in facial expressions alone than this multi-million-dollar modern pinnacle of art. For number 7, we got my favorite topic, the performance! And you know, oddly, I'll undermine this point a little by saying it's not as bad as Cyberpunk launch. Or is it? See, Cyberpunk between the low preset and ultra preset runs between 30 to 54 frames a second. It is a big swing, but that's what you'd expect for, these graphic settings. Well, at the same time, in the busiest part of New Atlantis, the game manages 40 FPS on ultra settings and 48 at the lowest settings. And that's never with 100% render scale. How pathetic is this? The fact of the matter that Cyberpunk, not only in style-wise, but also just generally technically looks better, should tell you that no, Starfield sadly is just not that good looking, nor technically advanced. And trust me, Cyberpunk's not that optimized either. I already investigated the problems with Starfield and immediately I realized that anti-aliasing is jacked the fuck up so hard that if it were my testicles, I'd be singing soprano! And while console peasantry may be okay with having no matter in the say, with the Microsoft cock in their cheek, see, the PC master race don't take no bitch shit like that. So performance for Starfield is constantly being adjusted to artificially hit 60 FPS through various settings that are hidden from you. That is why New Atlantis seems to look different when you step outside from the indoor environments. Everything feels smeary, and certainly not next gen. Oh, but don't worry, even if you think you're having bad performance, Todd Howard has solution for you.
Big question from many. Why did you not optimize this game for PC?
We did. It's running great. It is a next-gen PC game. We really do push the technology, so you may need to upgrade your PC for this game, but it's got a lot of great stuff going on in it, and the fans are responding awesome.
Now, safe to say, I could go in more detail how shady and locked down the engine is, but for now, trust me, the game is not well optimized, and no, the performance, even compared to the fucking Cyberpunk, is not good. Grind, grind, grind all day, grind your mind away. Merrily, 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 life is thrown away. Oh, sorry. Number 6 is this. So, the full skill tree requires 264 skill points. By my first 44-hour mark, I reached the level 30 after rushing through the main story. So, do I need to spell it out for you? The game is super grindy, doling out XP or levels in such small quantity that by the time you finish the game, you barely had enough to unlock about 7 full skills, or slightly more if you have finished them. And we'll talk about that. However, the grindy part of Starfield comes in many forms, and not just XP. But that's the most blatant one. 1 XP for gun mod crafting or cooking food, and 6 XP for killing this super tanky and tough siren monster, or this level 1 heat leech. Now, sure, Elden Ring also had similar cases of XP doling out. However, with Elden Ring, there was zero need to grind, if you were good enough to play the game. And also, the game wasn't so stingy with the levels. Credits are also quite stingy, especially when you need literal hundreds of thousands of credits to either buy or modify a ship. And when it comes to ships themselves, the credit grind too is especially noticeable, when you need hundreds of thousands of credits to either buy a new ship or modify it. I guess only saving grace is that you can actually steal these ships, and boy do I love that feature. A ship that would cost 100,000 credits first needs to be registered, so that costs credits, and sold for basically 10% of its worth. And at the end of the day, basically the profit is the same as finding a cool jetpack or spacesuit and selling that. I can't wait for rebalance mods at this point. Hell, I might even try my hand in this one myself. That's how much I hate this design. For number 5, we have the enabler of this grind, the skill tree. Now, when we first glanced at the skill tree before the game launched, we thought, okay, so you spend 1 skill point from the level up to unlock that skill. Then, through completing those rank up tasks, you level it up, basically encouraging you to play that playstyle. Nope. Well, okay, yeah, that's what you do, but not how you rank up a skill. To rank up a skill, you need to spend another skill point. So, a fully upgraded skill will cost 4 levels of your character. And like I said before, to fully max out the whole skill tree, you'll need over 260 levels. And this becomes incredibly taxing if you're a dedicated builder, gun modder, or crafting enthusiast, because these systems are also somewhat intertwined. Weapon mods need its own skill, spacesuits need its own skill, crafting of advanced crafting materials has its own skill. Jesus! Oh, and did you know, there is no respeccing either. So if you say picked up a useless skill, say weightlifting, tough luck you fuck. But what most of all disappointed me were skills themselves. To use a jetpack, you need a skill first. To use a bigger ship, you need a skill. To bribe a guard, you need a skill. To persuade someone, oh, look at that, miracle, you don't need a skill unlock. And this is where I ask, why the fuck? If everything in your character does need some sort of unlock, why is persuasion the odd man out? Or hold on, was it there for marketing reasons? Fuck it, the whole skill tree is bullshit, and like Fallout 3, it's incredibly underwhelming, to a point that it doesn't feel like you're building an actual character with perks and special abilities. Oh sure, maybe the game is pushing you to do New Game Plus to unlock more of it, but fuck you! Dark Souls never forced me to do this sort of a shit, and it has wonderful leveling design. And for number 4, we got, oh gods, even more grinding, the enemy sponginess. Take a look at this clip. Here, I'm using a powerful revolver railgun that deals nearly as much damage per shot as an explosive legendary weapon. I'm also shooting my level appropriate, sure a bit tougher enemies, but still, and I'm barely doing enough damage. Sure, from the game designer's perspective, yeah, the combat is taking a lot longer and player gets to enjoy the gunplay more. But let's be frank, the bad AI and sponginess does not result in the best of gameplays. And let's be frank, no shooter game is fun with spongy enemies. Well, maybe except for Borderlands, but that's an exception. Starfield certainly is not that good. And to me, it's just sad to see cool guns and decent FPS mechanics being ruined by lazy design choices. And so, this is the top 3. And for the 3rd place specifically, we have something that was, well, let's be frank, inevitable. And though this is the list of worst things in Starfield, well, it's not a bad feature per se. The story. The story of Starfield is one of exploration and discovery. Not spoiling anything here, but what it ends up being is extremely boring. Thanks to character brick faces and genuinely bad writing, the saving grace really were the voice actors. But even that won't save the main and side quests feeling simply boring. And I suppose being boring is worse than being bad. In fact, when it comes to sci-fi, you really have to try and make sci-fi boring. But I guess Bethesda found a way. Sure, there are glimpses of something fun happening at times, like the Terramorph questline, but when it's not combat gameplay, you're interacting with bad writing and emotionless looking AI. And I suppose that's Starfield. In theory, interesting, but in practice, a snooze fest. And you know what could have saved at least part of the story a little bit? The number 2 spot is for character animations, or rather the lack thereof. Throughout the whole story and some main side quests, I barely noticed NPCs doing more than just walk around and look at you with blank stares. And of course, like the screwed pooch, the comparisons come flying out. And no other one is blatantly more obvious for Starfield as Cyberpunk. So when I started switching between them for tests, holy shit, Starfield's characters feel so empty. This is absolutely most apparent in animations. Sure, CDPR went hard on cinematic storytelling, but it pays off so much. You can even see emotions in character faces. Well, at least most of the time. And then you switch back to Starfield and see Bethesda spending $200 to $500 million to produce, well, this kind of level of animation at best of times. I can't but to ask, why? And also, where the fuck did you put that money, Todd? You better be paying those voice actors double for what they are doing, like I said. And then, without a doubt, the number 1 spot definitely is taken by the most immersion-breaking thing for this grand open world. The loading screens. You load here, you load there, you load everywhere. You literally want to walk the planet and see what's on it? Well, you can't. Invisible walls, eventually. So you need to go back to your ship, lift off in the orbit, and then come back down to continue exploring the planet. And hey, if you really like the planet, your map is gonna look like this. This is the reason why Starfield feels like Bethesda's smallest game to date. There's nothing worse than a loading screen in a modern game. But games like Elite Dangerous have shown that loading screens can be made into seamless and in fact really cool moments. Just look at the hyperspace jump, which actually is a loading screen if you didn't know. How cool is that? And the same thing with No Man's Sky. But Bethesda, either due to incompetence or refusal to ditch the god-awful trash pile of shit called Creation Engine, seem not able to implement real asset streaming, a technology for the past 2 decades that most open worlds are now using. Oh, but no, of course, Starfield is
It is a next-gen PC game.
for a
Next-gen
experience, this surely is very, very, very old gen result, isn't it, Mr. Howard? But setting aside that bullshit, it just saddens me that the open world experience that Fallout and Elder Scrolls games have managed to be basically known for exclusively, something that was so fun to do, you know, just walking the road, is completely obliterated by the constant need to load in new areas or fast travel. I can't anymore say honestly that there is this seamless exploring and wandering around that Bethesda games are known for, and that is just a crying shame. And there you go, these are the worst things in Starfield. Some of them were disappointing compared to Bethesda's previous titles, and others were just simply boring, like the story especially, which is just sad. But oh well, there are worse things than that. The writing, very bad, but that's a whole different story, not gonna spoil it. For now, maybe your list differs, and if it does, well, do leave a comment down below and let me know. Otherwise, well, hey, there's the best list too, so go check that out if you need a little bit more positivity. Especially coming from someone like me. But other than that, of course, if you enjoy these both lists, or just simply this one, well, do check out the Patreon down below and support the content I make. Otherwise, I guess I'll be seeing you in the black, and but for now, that's about it for me, and I'll see you then next time.